Alrighty, welcome back everyone. We just talked about all the spring games that went on this past weekend, just finished up all of the takeaways from those games, but now it's time for a Top 10 Tuesday, and these are my favorite prospects in this draft. This is kind of a hard thing to put together because there's so many guys in this group that I really like. I've talked a number of times that I think this draft class overall is just remarkable. I think there's definitely some positions that are some question marks for sure, but I think there's tons of guys in this group that are going to be total difference makers at pretty much every position across this entire group. So I wanted to give my top 10 guys as I see it and just the guys that I am so excited to watch at the next level. It all starts with Jaden Daniels, in my opinion. I think he was the most electric player in college football last year, was an absolute treat to watch most of the games. That game against Florida is honestly one of, if not the best single game performance I have ever seen. He's someone that will make a total difference for whatever teams he's drafted in. Will put in the work that is absolutely necessary to get to that next level of what he's capable of being, because I don't think he's hit his ceiling yet. I think there's some people that definitely do think he has, and there's definitely an argument to be made that there's not necessarily a ton of places to go, but when you have that athletic ability and you still have area to build out that the frame that he has, I think the sky's really the limit for this kid. So I'm very excited to see where he goes. I tend to believe it'll be number 2 to the Commanders, but who knows? Maybe Drake may leapfrogs him and goes to the Commanders, but I cannot wait to watch this kid at the next level because watching him in college was an absolute treat at LSU. But number 2 is Javon Bullard. I talked about him during the safeties portion, but the dude just plays fast. He plays the game like he has nothing to lose, like it's the last time he's going to play, and just gives off the absolute right vibe from that safety position that you really want. That aggression, that intensity, and is someone that really set the pace for 2 or 3 really UGA defenses that were just remarkable throughout his time in Athens. So I think he's someone that obviously in a position group that isn't quite as strong in safety, but he definitely tops the list and is just a remarkable player. I have Braden Fisk at 3. He's someone that is being entirely overlooked, in my opinion. I think there's a ton of remarkable defensive tackles in this group. I think Byron Murphy sets the pace, obviously, but Braden Fisk is someone that no matter where you get him, you're getting a very good football player. You're getting a guy that's going to show up first, leave last. He's going to do everything the way that you want him to do it. And then when he shows up on Sundays, he's going to make a couple of plays for you. So I think he might take a little bit of time to fully get up to speed at the next level, but once he does, watch out, because I think this kid is absolutely insane. You have Troy Fautanu at number 4 for me. I think this is one of the most dynamic offensive tackles or offensive linemen, in this entire group. I think he can play inside, outside, is a great run blocker, can pass block, can do just remarkable amounts of things. I think he will be a first-year starter for whatever team drafts him, and whether it's at that guard position or honestly if you wanted to move him out to tackle if you absolutely needed to, he probably has the athletic ability to do that. So it's just remarkable what this kid is capable of. Was incredible at Washington a year ago, and wherever he gets drafted this year, I think they will fall in love with him fairly quickly, to be totally honest with you. Then we have Trevin Wallace at 5. This is a guy kind of like Javon Bullard, just plays football the way that I love players to do it. Especially at that linebacker position, you have to be aggressive, you have to be fast, you have to play with a chip on your shoulder, and he does it to the nth degree. He's a guy that absolutely will fly through a gap and just tattoo a running back. He's someone that does just incredible stuff on the defensive side of the ball, is athletic enough to be in coverage, can do a ton of different stuff, but his real asset is his speed and his athletic ability. So he's someone that if you just kind of put him out in a rover position and let him go to work, he's just going to be remarkable for you. But number 6 for me is Brian Thomas. I talked about his athletic ability. A guy that is that big should not be that fast. That's just the plain truth. I don't know what happened with him growing up, but he's just remarkable. His athletic ability is off the charts. His catch radius is maybe second to only Marvin Harrison Jr. in this class. I think he's someone that definitely does have a couple of things that you'd love to be a little bit more crisp on. The route running is not necessarily where you'd love it to be, but in terms of that kind of Mike Williams, Chargers type position where throw it up, he's going to make a play and score a ton of touchdowns for a team. He's definitely a guy that can do that, at least early on, and then slowly develop into a more complete wide receiver that he's capable of being. At number 7, I have Ladd McConkey. I talked about him during the wide receiver group. I think he's someone that is really as complete as they come in this group. He is so good with route running. He does everything the exact way you'd want it to do, the exact way it's written out on a route tree. He does it literally the perfect way. When you saw him run through that gauntlet in the NFL Combine, that was very clear. It looked like everything was on a perfect line. The ball did not move when it hit his hands. It was just everything looked exactly how you want it to look. So Ladd McConkey, while if you were to walk up to him in a bar, he's not necessarily the most intimidating character in the world, will absolutely be a difference maker at the next level. And you can line him up in the slot, outside, you can line him up in the backfield. You can literally do whatever you want with this kid. As long as he has the ball in his hands, as long as he is on the field, he's going to make plays for you. So very excited to see what he can do at the next level. I think he's someone that could be a huge, huge difference maker, to be honest. And then I have 2 edge rushers here. Chop Robinson here at 8. I think his athletic ability is just so much fun to watch. I think he's someone that if, your favorite team drafts him, I think you'll fall in love with this kid. I think his athleticism is off the charts. I think he plays the game with an aggression that I really haven't seen very often throughout college football. He's so great with his hands, definitely has remarkable bend on that exterior. So someone that is going to be a big-time pass rusher will be really his main asset at the next level. Will not necessarily drop into coverage too much, or probably won't be a down in, down out defensive end, but will be that third down guy that will make those big plays for you. So very excited to see what he can do at the next level. I think Jonah Ellis is another guy that is definitely more overlooked than Chop Robinson. I think his athletic ability is not necessarily at the same level as a Chop Robinson or a Jared Verse or a Dallas Turner, but it's still up there. I think his ability is incredible. I think he's incredible during against the run, has really long arms, so can hold a offensive tackle at bay while he wraps up a running back, does incredible things on that edge, and does really, really just things that you absolutely need from an edge rusher. A lot of these guys in this edge rushing class are remarkable athletically, remarkable getting to the passer, but maybe don't do the mundane things quite as well. Maybe don't set the edge quite as well. Maybe don't run, aren't as great against the run, aren't as great in kind of the more bland tasks that they're asked to do. But Jonah Ellis does them to perfection. So very, very high on this kid. I think he's someone that has about as high of a floor as any edge rusher in this entire class. Very excited to see what he can do at the next level. And then at number 10, I have another Washington kid in Jalen Polk. I think he's so much fun to me. Him at wide receiver is just essentially having an Energizer bunny, and you can kind of just hand him the ball, let him fly, and do his thing. I think he's just remarkable. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Rondale Moore in terms of his ability and kind of the way I see him being utilized at the next level. Now, Rondale Moore was not necessarily utilized the best way in Arizona, I would think, or if you were to ask me, but I think Jalen Polk, if he's drafted into the right situation and given the chances to, be in on gadget plays, get that end around, get the jet sweep, do whatever he needs to do, essentially, I think he could be a huge difference maker where, he's not going to be wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2. He's not going to lead you in receptions or anything like that. But he's going to make a couple of plays that could affect games and could, affect the outcome of tons of stuff happening with whatever team he gets drafted to, not only this year, but down the road. So I think he's someone in this wide receiver class that is just packed to the gills, someone that you can get probably in the 3rd or 4th round that could be a difference maker pretty much right away. But there's tons to get through in this NFL draft. We will continue getting to it throughout these next couple of days. I think there's so much build-up to this draft. I feel like there's been insane amounts of talk about, Caleb Williams and the different ways that people are trying to knock him down, whether it's going to be Jaden Daniels or Drake May at number 2, what's going to happen with J.J. McCarthy. We will break all of that down actually tomorrow. I know ESPN just dropped their full 7-round mock draft, so I'll probably look over that tonight, go over it tomorrow, give you guys an idea of where we're sitting a day out from the draft, but there's going to be a ton of stuff happening, so we will continue to focus in on the draft pretty much until that first round happens, and then we'll probably react to the first round on Friday. So the rest of the week will be a lot of draft stuff. I wanted to get the tons of names and tons of lists out of the way as quickly as possible, so you guys got an idea of where I stand, and also you can be looking at your screen and know who you're looking at when you see some of these guys called later in later rounds. But that'll do it for this edition of the GSMC College Football Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show, leave a positive review. It does make a huge difference for us. Also, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all of the social pages for every update and all the content you could possibly need. We have people covering baseball, basketball, women's sports, wrestling, soccer, everything you could possibly need in the world of sports. We have you covered, so definitely tune into every show that we have going around the GSMC network. But thank you once again for tuning in, and I will see you guys tomorrow.